Not every man who seems interested in a woman is actually pursuing her. Some of them are profiling her. And if you've ever had that strange feeling that someone wasn't really getting to know you, they were studying you, this is for you. Because there is a difference between genuine curiosity and strategic observation. A man who is truly interested in you wants to know who you are. A man who is profiling you wants to know how you work. That is a completely different agenda. One is relational, the other is tactical. And the frightening thing is, on the surface, they can look the same. They ask questions. They listen closely. They remember details. They notice what matters to you. They pay attention to your pains, your hopes, your fears, your disappointments, your unmet needs. And if you're a sincere person, that kind of attention can feel flattering. It can feel intimate. It can feel safe. It can feel like, wow, this person really sees me. But being studied is not the same thing as being loved. And being understood is not always the same thing as being safe. Because some men are not gathering information to cherish you. No, they are gathering information to tailor themselves to you, to present what will disarm you, to mirror what will comfort you, to say what will lower your guard, to become what will grant them access. That is not pursuit. That is emotional profiling. And emotional profiling is dangerous because it feels personal. It feels intentional. It feels like chemistry. But what it may actually be is data collection. They are observing your wounds, your father wound, your loneliness, your desire to be chosen, your hunger to be understood, your faith, your values, your boundaries, your insecurities, your habits, what makes you soften, what makes you guilty, what makes you second guess yourself, what makes you stay longer than you should. And once they gather enough of that information, they don't respond to you as a person. They build a strategy around you. And that is why women leave certain interactions feeling strangely exposed, not because something obvious happened, but because something in them sensed they were being mapped, not met. And that difference matters. Because the real pursuit comes with sincerity. It comes with clarity. It comes with, consistency that does not need to be engineered. But profiling has a different energy. Profiling is calculated. It adapts too quickly. It learns your emotional language before it has earned the right to speak it. It studies your inner world, not to protect it, but to move through it efficiently. And that is why some people feel so perfect in the beginning, because they are not showing up as themselves. They aren't. They are showing up as your psychological custom fit. That is why it can feel like they just get you. Like they know exactly what to say, exactly how to comfort you, exactly how to sound safe, exactly how to appear aligned. But what feels like deep compatibility can sometimes be something much darker, a well-tailored performance. And if that sounds extreme, stay with me, because a manipulative person does not need to know everything about you. They only need to know enough. Enough to disarm you, enough to bypass your discernment. Yes, enough to position themselves as the answer to the ache they have already identified in you. That is why discernment in dating matters so much, because attention is not always affection, listening is not always care, and emotional intelligence is not always kindness, because sometimes it is simply a tool in the hands of someone who wants access without intimacy, control without honesty, and entry without true alignment. This is why some women feel crazy later, because when the mask falls, they look back and think, but he understood me so well. No, he may have understood your patterns well. He may have understood your openings well. He may have understood what made you trust. But that is not the same thing as honoring your soul. And this is where a lot of women need to wake up. Because being known is not the same as being safe. Because someone can learn your story and still not be safe for your future. Someone can speak your language and still be dangerous for your peace. Someone can understand your wounds and still use that understanding to gain emotional leverage over you. That is why not every attentive man is emotionally mature. Not every observant man is sincere. And not every man who seems deeply interested in you is interested in you for your good. Some are interested in your blueprint, how you think, how you attach, how you forgive, how you hesitate, how you explain away discomfort, how you betray yourself when you don't want to lose connection. And once they know that, they know how to move. And this is why some women keep saying, I don't know how he knew exactly what to say. Because he was not only talking to you, he was studying for the role. And the thing about profiling is that it often works best on good women. Women who are open, women who are thoughtful, women who communicate honestly, women who assume sincerity because they themselves are sincere, women who think shared depth means shared integrity. But depth without integrity is dangerous. Attention without integrity is dangerous. Insight without integrity is dangerous. Because without integrity, all of it becomes ammunition. And I need women to hear this clearly. You do not owe immediate emotional transparency to someone simply because they know how to ask good questions. You do not owe access to your inner world because someone appears emotionally intelligent. You do not owe trust just because someone sounds self-aware. People can learn the language of healing without doing the work of healing. People can learn the language of safety without being safe. People can learn the language of depth without having the character to hold depth responsibly. And this is why some of you need to slow down. Not because love is bad, not because attention is dangerous, but because access should not be granted on the basis of intrigue alone. Access should be earned by consistency, character, truthfulness, and the way your nervous system feels in their presence over time. Not just how you feel, not just how seen you feel, not just how understood you feel, not just how perfectly they seem to say the right thing. Because a man can say the right thing and still be wrong for your life. And maybe that is the line. Maybe the line is this: the right man does not study you to gain leverage. He studies you so he can love you responsibly. That is a completely different spirit. One gathers information to enter. The other grows in understanding to protect. One wants the map. The other honors the territory. One is driven by access. The other is driven by care. And if you've been through the pain of realizing that what felt like connection was actually calculation, let me say this to you clearly. You are not foolish for having a heart. No, you are not weak for wanting to be known. You are not stupid because someone used attentiveness as a strategy. But you do need to become more discerning. Because not every man who is attentive is safe. Not every man who is articulate is honest. And not every man who seems emotionally fluent is emotionally clean. This is Redefine Your Narrative. And maybe the narrative you need to redefine is this: not everyone who learns you love you. Some people are just studying for access. God bless you.